How's it going, everyone? It's Johnny Beard here with another Tierlist Thursdays, and today we're covering one of my favourite topics, Resident Evil characters, as voted by people on Twitter slash X. Sorry. Moving forward, I'm going to be putting more content, hopefully, on my Blue Sky account as well, so keep an eye on that if you want more of my content. I'm trying to drift away from the X platform. Anyway, so yeah. As requested, more than happy to deliver my favourite Resident Evil characters. The problem is there's so hecking many of them, right? And I want to try and keep this video a bit more concise than I could. I could go on for hours about this topic, but we're going to cover around, I don't know, 20 to 30 characters or so. We won't be able to cover everyone, but I'm going to try and cover all the main people, obviously. And as always, we're going to drop the character into C tier, discuss them, and then basically, yeah, judge them, basically. And of course, by all means, tell me what I've got wrong, who are your favourite characters, and what hot takes have I had that you just don't agree with. And that's totally fine, of course, because opinions are like buttholes. We all have them. So first, we've got to start off with Chris Redfield. So I've talked about this. If you guys know me, you know that I think, generally speaking, Chris is an overrated character. For me, he fills that cliche American superhero style character that I just don't like. I never have, and yeah, I just don't. I've never vibed with him. As the series has gone on, however, again as documented by myself in the past, I do actually have more of a liking to him. It's quite funny. I like the older he gets, the more. They add layers to his character and gets him away from those tropes. They still keep some of the tropes, but they get away from they move away from it somewhat. Like, for example, even though it's arguably my least favourite Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 6 Chris is probably my favourite Chris. Because he's so flawed, he's so human, he makes mistakes, he fails. And that's another thing that gets on my nerves about Chris. He always wins. He always is the superhero, and always, gets the win in the end. And that trope just gets on my nerves a little bit, somewhat. And again, it does happen in 6, of course, as well. But it's just a frustrating trope I have. And yeah, I just that big macho American superhero trope just does my nut in. Yeah, so he's a complicated character for me to rank, really, because I would have said probably going up until Resident Evil 5 even, I probably would have put him in C tier. But I like him in 6. I like him in Village as well. Apart from towards the end of it, when you play as him. But again, one thing I loved about Resident Evil Village's story is Chris the bad guy here. They were going into that, like, why did he kill, Ethan's wife and stuff like that. I loved that. Also, he's a bit daddy inside that big long that big long black coat and stuff like that. They've made him more handsome as he gets older, yeah. But yeah, I like him. I like that. I almost hoped he was the main villain in Village. I've said that before, and I genuinely think that would have been a very interesting direction to take Resident Evil's story. I would have loved the Village to have Chris as the main villain and him battling through like the virus or whatever, and then ends up being killed and being to kill off Chris Redfield. And that marks a new slate to move on from. But I don't think they'll ever do that. Anyway, I'm going to probably put him in the B tier. I definitely don't think he's higher than that. I'm not the biggest Chris fan, as I said. But as the games have gone on, I do actually find him a bit more... the depths of his character have increased. And I find him a lot more tolerable than I used to. Yeah. And then we got Jill Valentine. Now, I love Jill. She's badass. She's a tough cookie. She's also quite easy on the eyes. Again, I had some crushes on RE3 Jill when I was younger. Yeah, she's just, again, I love the fact that she's such a strong female character and gives as good as she gets it, basically. I love the banter between her and Carlos, especially in the remake of 3. They really did hone in well on that, But again, I love the naivete she has in RE1, how she's just quite a young rookie STARS member and stuff like that. Not rookie, but more advanced than like Rebecca, but certainly not as advanced as Chris, that's for sure, and Barry, obviously. I wasn't a big fan of the character turn in 5 as such. I didn't really like Jill in 5, partly because she was a bit part, and again, the trailers leading up towards RE5's initial release was that Jill might be killed off, and again, I thought that was like, type of thing. And then what actually came out from that experience with the lack of character and stuff like that, just wasn't a big fan. I do feel like Jill does need another game, her own game. There's so much and too much Chris. We've talked about that before. Considering the main 2 characters, Resident Evil, technically, are Chris and Jill. I think the lack of Jill is disrespectful as fuck, to be honest with you. I'm going to put her in A tier. I think she is a strong character, has some really, really good moments. Resident Evil 3 is her game. Obviously, and is brilliant. She's brilliant in it, and yeah, I think she's excellent. Speaking of Barry, oh my god! So as you might know if you know me, I'm a big Barry fan. I have a cosplay as Barry that I built, by the way, as in other costumes I've got, I bought. I built my Barry costume. I love Barry. He's brilliant. He's just excellent. Being realistic, I don't think I could put him in the S tier though. But I'm going to put him into A tier straight away. I fucking love Barry. I've always loved him. He's comic relief. He's a veteran. He's a great family man. He's put into horrendous pressure by Wesker, and doesn't deal with it great. But again, I love that flawed aspect of him. Honestly, just an exceptional character. Just a great side character in Resident Evil. I haven't, by the way, just for context, I have not played Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 properly. Certainly not the second. So I haven't really got much to say about Revelations, and in fact, we're not going to be covering those games in this video today. I don't know how he is in that. But certainly Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 1 Remake, he's brilliant. Absolutely excellent character. And yeah. The world is better having Barry Burton in it, that is for sure. And then we got Rebecca Chambers. So, funny story. When I was younger, I hated Rebecca Chambers. And in fact, I remember there being a lot of discourse back in the late 90s, early noughties, probably going up towards maybe the 2010s even to a point, about how annoying a character Rebecca was. And yet there's been this switch I've noticed on the internet, or maybe I'm just in different streamer or Resident Evil community circles nowadays than I used to be in, but people really like Rebecca nowadays. And I'm like, what? When did this happen? I've never liked Rebecca. In fact, I'm probably going to keep her in C tier, because she was annoying as heck in the original game, Resident Evil 1 OG. I really could not stand her. She was so annoying. The acting lines weren't great. I found her to be annoying whenever I played with her as Chris. Played alongside her when I was playing as Chris. And like that whole story arc for me is so much worse than the Jill Barry storyline in general, I think. Yeah, I hate the piano playing bit again. That was annoying that you had to wait for her to play fucking piano. Yeah, just annoying. Resident Evil 0, she was okay, but again, I find the plot for Resi 0 to be just a bit weird in terms of the fact that she's so much more capable in 0 than she ever was in Resident Evil 1 original or remake. It's odd. It's a weird plot. Continuation error, so to speak, really. She never lets on that she's been dealing with all this stuff, and I don't think it was, again, about confidentiality either. The whole thing was weird. I never quite understood it, and I hope that if they ever do remake 0, which there is rumours that that's happening, and maybe 1, that they address that, because it's an annoying thing that gets on my nerves, to be honest with you. But she's okay in 0, and she's a bit better in 1 remake. C tier. I probably would have put her under D tier probably years ago, but I'd keep her into C tier for now. And then we have the big bad himself. I mean, he's going straight into S tier. He's one of my all-time favourite characters in video game history. I absolutely love Albert Wesker. Always have. Absolutely loved Wesker in every game he's been in. He's always been amazing. I haven't played. One thing I will say is I've not played the Resident Evil 4 remake DLC with Separate Ways yet, so I'm not sure where to place myself with that yet. Based on the ending of a Resident Evil 4 remake going into that DLC, I wasn't too sure on the voice actor. To be honest with you, not disrespect, no disrespect to him. So I've intentionally avoided everything to do with Separate Ways remake, because I want to make my own judgment. But from what I've seen on the internet, Albert Wesker in Separate Ways remake is excellent as well. So hoping to feel the same way. But I didn't get the best vibes from the remake, the 4 remake ending Wesker situation. But you know, that's a very small glimpse of everything else. Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 1 remake, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5, absolutely incredible performance in Resident Evil 5. I loved him in Code Veronica as well. Fuck me, like Code Veronica and Resident Evil 5 for me are my favourite Wesker performances. They're just incredible. And again, I've told this story before, but for those who haven't heard it, when I played Resident Evil Code Veronica for the first time, I didn't know Wesker was in it, and I had no idea he was going to be brought back from the dead and all this stuff. And I didn't see him in the background of the picture, on the main menu and stuff like that. So genuinely went into it with complete and utter, ignorance, so to speak. And honestly, when you see Wesker come back to see Claire Redfield, he said, "Greetings, Claire Redfield," and it's like, oh, what the hell? It's one of my favorite moments of all time is seeing Wesker come back from the dead and just playing with Claire like a toy, just slapping her about and just making her feel so pathetic almost, shall we say, just to show how powerful he is. Poor Claire, just incredible. And again, I love the fight between him and Chris at the end of Code Veronica. I love the Matrix style stuff in Resident Evil 5. I love his incredible lines and delivery in Resident Evil 5. I'm gutted. I was gutted they killed him off. Genuinely, and I think it is a mistake. Arguably, of all the characters, there's certain characters in Resident Evil that they have not killed off, and you kind of go, you could easily kill that character off, make it a really good finale and farewell, and it would be great. And yet, of all the characters they could have killed off and haven't, and the characters that they have killed off and maybe shouldn't have, Wesker's top of that list for me. Why they killed him off, I genuinely don't know. It was, I think they regret it. I genuinely think Capcom have gone, fuck. Again, another reason why they made some of the remakes, because we get to showcase Albert Wesker better. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant character, absolutely love him. One of my favourite antagonists of all time. Okay, we're now going into Resident Evil 2 characters. We've got Claire Redfield now. So, again, Claire's a brilliant character. Absolutely love Claire in OG and Remake 2. Love her in Code Veronica. Arguably, again, would say arguably Code Veronica is my favourite Claire performance. I think she's fantastic. I think she's a great protagonist. Underratedly great protagonist. I'm going to probably put her into A tier again. Never did fancy her though. I was always a Jill person when comparing to the two. But as a character, she's excellent. Again, a great sister to Chris. Oh my god, she literally travels around the world to find her brother. Just a really nice, sweet girl, but also tough as nails. Like, you wouldn't have fucked with Claire. She's excellent, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant character. Got a lot of time for Claire Redfield. And then we have Leon Kennedy. Now, I'm going to put him straight into S tier again. I don't think it's a dispute in my mind. For me, he's arguably the best protagonist in Resident Evil history. He's excellent. Again, the story arc he goes through from Resident Evil 2's naivete to Resident Evil 4's badassery is just incredible. And it makes storyline sense that he was picked by the president to, join his special forces team, so to speak, because of his escaping of the incident of Raccoon City, and got some of the best lines in Resident Evil 4. he's pretty good in Resi 6 as well. I mean, to be fair, Resi 6 is not the best game. We all know that. He has a fine performance in 6. But 4 is where it's at. Resident Evil 4's Leon is just one of the best characters ever. he's so quick, so witty, so badass. I love how he jumps out windows. I love him suplexing Ganados. I love, the laser scene. Just as a like, I wanted to be Leon. Okay, without the hair. Was never a fan of the hair. But yeah, honestly, like, Resi 4 Leon is just amazing. But Leon as a character is great. So for me, best protagonist and antagonist are both at S tier right now. They're both excellent. In fact, I would love to have more direct banter between Leon and Albert Wesker. Like, honestly, there's very, very little. In fact, arguably, they never interact. I don't know about 4 remakes separate ways. Again, don't spoil that for me. There might be some interaction there that I'm not aware of, but certainly not in 4. And he's been killed off in 5, Wesker, hasn't he? So yeah, as far as I'm aware, I mean, I know they know of each other. I certainly know Wesker knows of Leon, but I would have loved to have seen that quick-witted dialogue between Wesker and Leon. It would have been amazing to see. And maybe it does happen in Separate Ways remake. I don't know. And then we got Ada Wong. Again, straight away for me, S tier, my lady. So what, Jill and Claire? No, I'm Team Ada. Always been Team Ada. She's amazing. Oh, what a character. What a character Ada Wong is. Arguably, now, maybe my favourite character. I talk about antagonist Wesker and protagonist Leon. That's the beauty of Ada Wong is, what is she? Is she a good girl? Is she a bad girl? Is she doing her own thing? I think that's the latter. But we don't know. We don't know. She is just this mysterious entity, really, and she does her thing for herself. And she's a mercenary, and she double crosses people all the time. But she's just so cool. She's so sexy. You wouldn't mess with her, but again, a certain part of me does like, please mess with me. sorry. Keep it respectful. Yeah, genuinely love Ada. She has some fantastic lines. She's excellent in 2 remake and 4. Excellent. Actually, arguably 4 is her best performance as well. 6 is really good. Actually, I like her in 6 as well. Again, we talk about Ada and Carla. I think she's great in 6 as well. In terms of the characters of 6, she's one of the better performing characters in a lackluster set of characters. So yeah, S tier, one of my favourite all-time characters. Certainly one of my all-time favourite feminine characters in video game history. We all know that there's a lack of females in video games comparatively with men. So I'm just saying that as an aside. Ada's amazing, absolutely wonderful character. Love her to death. And then we've got Sherry Birkin. So again, Sherry here, the picture is from Resident Evil 6. We have to talk about 2 and 6 here. It's difficult. Again, we talk about the annoyance of Rebecca Chambers. I felt pretty much the exact same way about Sherry. And really found her really frustrating. I hated running off and then having to run back and fucking collect her again when I'm playing as Claire. I found her to be a really annoying character in Resident Evil 2 OG. I mean, I know she's a young little girl and stuff like that, and that's kind of, that she was kind of, that she was written that way on purpose. But that being said, Resident Evil 2 Remake Sherry is much better. Much better. In fact, you do feel sorry for Sherry. And I didn't feel sorry for Sherry, which sounds horrible, but she goes through some horrible stuff. Some horrendous stuff. In the original game, but I don't know why I genuinely did feel much more sorry for her in Resident Evil 2 Remake. I love the relationship and the bond between Claire and Sherry in both games, but also particularly the remake. She was great. Again, she was a very loyal, innocent daughter to Annette and William. And was put through so much crap by her parents, man. You genuinely felt so sorry for her in 2 Remake. You really did. In Resi 6, she's fine. I find it to be quite bland, to be honest with you. Lacking in personality so much, to be honest with you. But yeah, she's fine. I think I'll keep her in C tier. I don't think I could keep her higher. I don't think she deserves to be lower nowadays. Again, if we're talking about more of the... If it was Resident Evil 2 OG, she probably would be lower than she is. But yeah, C's fine. And then we got Carlos. Again, I have mixed feelings for Carlos. Again, the character in Resident Evil 3 compared to Resident Evil 3 Remake, they made some interesting changes to his character. Arguably for the better. He was a better written character in the remake, I do feel, because again, some of his lines and you know, things that he says in the original game have not probably aged well. But one thing I will say is I preferred his look in the original game. I didn't like the afro-y type of look that they gave him in the remake, to be honest with you. I felt like his look was better in the original. But I do think that his performance in the remake was better. I think, generally speaking, the performances in all the remakes are better than the original games. They've obviously taken on board certain things from the original games that the games were based on and made improvements, generally speaking. Not everyone, but yeah. So yeah, I think Carlos, he's okay. I'm going to keep him in C tier. I don't think he deserves to go up higher than that. He's okay. Again, I like some of the dialogue banter between him and Jill. I think I mentioned that in Jill's section in Resident Evil 3 Remake particularly. He genuinely does care about Jill as well. And again, when you go through... They play on the conflict between him and the other mercenaries, you know, like Nikolai and stuff like that, better in the remake as well. But I just don't think I can bump him up higher than that. I just think that C tier feels right. And then we have got Nikolai. Now... Nikolai in the original game, I didn't really care too much about Nikolai. But if we're talking about characters that were in the original games and then their remakes and the improvement that they've made to those characters, arguably Nikolai has had the best facelift of any character from OG to remake character. Nikolai is a brilliant scumbag in the remake. He's excellent. He's excellent. I'm going to put him in the B tier. I don't think I can put him higher than that. But he is a horrible piece of work in the remake of Resident Evil 3. Arguably the best character, possibly, you know, in RE3 Remake. You know, again, he is literally the definition of a mercenary making money for money. He does not give two shits about who lives, who dies, as long as he gets paid. And, you know, I love that. You know, he has no heart, he has no compassion, does not give... But he also enjoys suffering. He enjoys making people suffer. You know, and I love the fact that they didn't kill him off in Resident Evil 3 Remake. Because you can kill him off, technically, in one of the endings in Resident Evil 3 OG. But his ending is relatively ambiguous in Resident Evil 3 Remake. I would love for Nikolai to return. I think there's unfinished business with him. I think, based on how they left it in Resident Evil 3 Remake, I would be totally okay with another Nikolai performance in Resident 9 or 10 or whatever, you know. I really like him. I think he's a horrible piece of work, genuinely. I think the only problem with him now is that, you know, he's a little bit aged, so he's probably going to be in his, dare I say, like 60s perhaps, maybe. In Resident Evil, like 9, 10, 11, whatever. But yeah, great character. Really, really like Nikolai. Horrible piece of work. Ashley Graham, the president's daughter. Again, we talk about the original game and the remake, and they have improved Ashley in the remake, I must say. She was annoying as heck in the original game. I'd never liked Ashley. In fact, I found it a bit weird how people were quite perverted with her, to be honest with you. Because again, never liked that side, to be honest with you, as well. Yeah, but just again, the whole Leon help Leon, help me Leon thing just annoys the heck out of me. Again, when she coughs blood and runs off, that does my nut in. You know, But she has some better dialogue in the remake for sure. She has some better moments in the remake as well. I love when the virus takes over and she threatens Leon with the knife in the remake. I thought that was a really cool scene. That would be her best moment. Again, when you play as Ashley in the remake and you have the statues moment, that was much... I mean, whilst it was really good in the original game, I feel like it's better in the remake, that section. It was genuinely terrifying, and he genuinely was worried for this poor girl in those segments. Yeah. Again, towards the end, when you get to like the island and stuff like that, some of the dialogue she has with Leon is really good. But that being said, it's kind of similar to Ashley and Sherry. I don't think I can put her hide and seek. I don't think she's good enough. I think she is better, but these are characters that I probably would have put into D tier based on the original games, but I'm keeping them into C tier in based on their remake counterparts more than anything else, to be honest with you. And then we've got Louis Serra. And this is a weird portrait because I think this must have been before 4 Remake came out. I have to base them on both the OG and the remake, and if I'm being honest, this is one character in Resident Evil 4 Remake I didn't necessarily feel like they improved as such. They made some changes to his character. Some of them made sense, and some of them I was like, okay, that's fine with, but then there were certain things I didn't like, and certain things I just couldn't quite agree with. You know, I wasn't also a fan of his redesign as well. I don't like his new design. I genuinely like him more in the original game. I think he's fine in the remake, but I do feel like yeah, he was not necessarily improved in this game. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way to kind of put it, really. I don't think there's much else to say. I'm going to probably keep him in C tier. He's kind of like a C+, but no, I think C tier feels right for Lewis. He's fine. And then we've got Salazar. I like Salazar. Again, in terms of remake versus OG, I think his original performance is way better than his remake. Didn't find him to be anywhere near as endearing in a weird way as he was in the original game. I love the banter between him and Leon, man. We talk about banter between characters. Leon versus Salazar's banter is arguably the best in any Resident Evil game. The back and forth between Leon and Salazar is hilarious. You know, your right hand comes off, you know, oh yeah, I'm in fact 23 years old. Sounded Welsh then. Well, I am Welsh. But anyway, so I'm going to put Salazar in B tier. I do think his original performance is better than this remake, but the remake Salazar is fine. I like I understood the changes they made to his design. With the castle, he's it's his castle, and you know, to give him more regality almost and stuff like that. They made the changes they made, and I gotta get it. You know, I just don't think the banter is as good. I don't think his lines are as good. Yeah, but he's still very good. I really like Salazar. I wish there was more Salazar, but you know, he is boxed into the world of Resi 4. He ain't getting out, and he's dead anyway. So you know, we're not going to see Salazar again, unfortunately. Then we've got Jack Krauser. Now, again, if you know me personally, you will know I am a massive Krauser fan. In fact, a little bit dusty. Oh, it's blue tactile. I can't show you it, but I've got a Jack Krauser statue. I've always loved Jack Krauser. I think he's excellent. I think he's underrated. I think he's under. I think there was so much more they could have done, and the fact that they did acknowledge that there was a certain, you know, interest in hearing more of Jack Krauser's story, that they kind of shoehorned it into. What was it? It was a Resident Evil Umbrella Chronicles, I think it was, wasn't it? That he was in. It was one of the Chronicles games anyway on the Wii. Was a bit disappointing. I mean, again, in that he was fine. I liked the story and the stuff they gave us in terms of that extra Krauser content. Krauser in the Resident Evil 4 remake, definitely, unfortunately, again, must say, I prefer his original performance. But again, whilst I prefer his original performance in Resident Evil 4 to Resident Evil 4 remake, I do like the story additions they put into Resident Evil 4 remake. I love how he actually became Leon's mentor, rather than like his like war buddy almost. And that retcon made sense. And I think it lent well to the story of 4 remake better as well. But I just didn't think his lines were as good. I didn't like the voice actor as much, sorry, but I think the original voice actor had so much more personality than the remake Krauser. I've always loved Krauser. I think he's got some of the best lines. I love his character design. I love the banter and the rivalry, almost, should we call it, between him and Leon. I love the camaraderie as well, again, because this respect between Leon and Krauser. There's a lot of respect, like and it's just, he's just got, when it comes to Resident Evil characters and their airtime and maximizing their airtime, Jack is possibly top of the list. Jack is probably top of that list. Jack Krauser he's not in Resi 4 for that long, and yet he basically is in technically for 1 full chapter. He's not. He kind of appears here and there in a couple of the others, but technically he has 1 chapter, and he maximizes that chapter like nothing. He has so much more personality than some of the main antagonists of Resident Evil games wished they could do with their time what he does with his little time. I'm going to put him A tier. I probably should put him into B. No, I'm happy with A. I think A works. Krauser, excellent character. Love him. Absolutely love him. And then we have... Oh my god. Give me a second, sorry. Then we've got Lord Sadler. Now, Sadler's fine. He's okay. Yeah. I'm going to put him into C tier. I don't think there's more to say. He's fine. I considering how important he is as to the plot of Resident Evil 4, I don't think he has a lot of personality. And again, when it comes to Resident Evil 4 vs. 4 remake, I think they made him slightly better, slightly more sinister in Resident Evil 4 remake. But I don't think it's enough to save him from being higher than C tier. I'm going to keep him in the C tier. He's okay. He's fine. Yeah. I do tend to find that a lot of the main big baddies in Resident Evil games, apart from Wesker, really lack that personality. Really, it's kind of weird. Sadler's fine. He's just fine. Okay, then we got Sheva. So Sheva from Resident Evil 5. Love Sheva. Think Sheva's underrated. Want to see more Sheva. Why the heck have we not got more Sheva in the game, in the series? I don't know. What has happened to her? Where has she been since like 2004, 5, whenever the timeline is for Resident Evil 5? It's so funny that they build this story of Resident Evil 5 as Chris losing his partner in Jill, thinking she's dead, finding a new partner in Sheva, really building that bond between him and Sheva in Resident Evil 5 throughout the whole of the game, finding Jill again, and then Jill's like, no, you've got a partner for this mission, no, she's your partner, you escape together, I'll make my own way out, da. So they're building this relationship between Chris and Sheva as being fantastic, teammates, partners, and then she's gone. she's never been back. She's never been back. Where the fuck's she gone? It's so stupid. Sheva's great. Got great personality. I'm going to put her into B tier. I think she's really good. I think she's got a really cool personality. She's tough as nuts. And great partners with Chris. Again, has her own heartbreaking story with her parents in Africa, and which again, which forms a lot of the reasons why she wants to, do her job and her duty basically and stuff like that. I actually really like Sheva, really like her, want to see more. I think she deserves more love, yeah, it's a crying shame we've not seen her back since, and hopefully that will be corrected at some point. Seems I've got this slightly... Oh, no, I haven't. I apologise. I seem to haven't got Resident Evil 0 or Code Veronica characters here. I apologise. But we are also kind of looking at the time, so I don't know how many characters we're going to be able to cover. I'm going to have to be a bit quicker. So, Jake, Resident Evil 6. Okay. C tier, probably again. Was not, you know, Albert Wesker. Other than being Albert Wesker's son and being a little bit of a prick. He has the weakest storyline of 6. Him and Sherry Birkin, their stories in 6 are the weakest in my opinion. You know, do you need my blood? How much are you going to pay me? Okay, I'm being a bit of a prick right now. Okay, I kind of care about you, Sherry, but I kind of don't care either. Okay, cool. Kind of funny, but he actually reminds me a little bit of Billy in Resident Evil 0. They're very similar characters of, oh right, I'm a mercenary or / ex-convict or whatever, but I didn't do it. Oh, I'm going to be a bit of a bitch. So I'm going to be a bit of a prick to the female protagonist in this game. Do I care for her? Do I not care for her? I'm not sure. Type of thing. Almost similar characters. You know, considering one's Albert Wesker's fucking son, you know, there's not more. They could have done so much more with that character, really, didn't give him that type of personality. But that's what it is. Don't hate him, don't really care for him. Then we got Pierce. I'm going to put Pierce into B tier. I've talked about this before, but for those who haven't heard, I've argued that the best storyline of 6 is Chris and Pierce. I genuinely love the dynamic between Chris and Pierce in 6, and Pierce's story is so heartbreaking. Again, we talk about why I've moved Chris from a C tier to a B tier based on his more recent performances in 6 and Village. A lot of that is to do with Pierce because of the back and forth between him and Chris. Pierce and Chris in Resident Evil 6, their relationship is excellent. I love the fact that the main drive for that story is Chris is a veteran, he's a mentor, he's a leader, and he loses his entire team of youngsters, young rookies in the BSAA, and he's fucked up because of it. Like, he goes and becomes an alcoholic, and he technically retires at one point and stuff like that. And then Pierce, despite all that, kicks him into gear, goes, come on, Captain, I need you. We need to do this. I believe in you. You're my hero. Da, 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 da. And then tragically sacrifices himself to Chris at the end of 6. It's just so heartbreaking. One of the best moments of Resident Evil history, believe it or not, is in 6 with Pierce and Chris. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's so well done. We talk about 6 being so overrated, so mediocre, but it has glimpses of excellence, and that is arguably one of the best moments. And I've always said, most people don't seem to agree with me when I say that the best part of 6 is Chris and Pierce. And Chris's storyline is so much better than Leon's, than Sherry's. Yeah. But yeah, Pierce's story and character is good. I put him into B tier. Really, really good. And then we've got Helena. Never really cared for Helena that much. Gonna keep her into C tier. Again, finding her almost lacking in personality, really. It doesn't help when she's compared to some of the other greats like Ada and Claire and Jill and stuff like that. I just don't really... I never really did care for Helena. I know I felt sorry for her because of what happened with her and her sister and stuff like that in the game, but beyond that, I just didn't... You know, again, once the sister's storyline's dealt with, she's just there, really, to assist Leon, you know? Just lacking, really, to be honest. What else can I say? And we got Ethan Winters. Ooh, he's always an interesting character to rank. The faceless man, the double hand amputee legend of Ethan Winters. Is it double hand? Yeah, it is, isn't it? He loses his hand twice, isn't he? Yeah, he does, yeah. Sorry, I thought he also loses a leg at one point. Poor Ethan. We always say that, don't we? And we also know why it happens in the end of Village as well. So it's an explanation that is given as well. Ethan's fine. I always feel sorry for him. People don't rate Ethan because, again, when we just talk about what we said about Helena compared to the female protagonist, the same can be very much said about Ethan when it comes to him compared to Leon and Chris. You know, he's just your everyday lad next door, good dad, good husband in a very difficult situation, really, where life hits him pretty fast and monsters are everywhere to try and kill him undo. But he's got some good lines. He's got some good dialogue. Again, I love his passion and drive to be the best husband and dad he can be. I'm going to put him to B tier, more for justification, justice for Ethan type of fight movement, because I do feel like he's underrated. I do feel like people don't give him a good amount of love. And again, spoilers, but they killed him off now, and that sucks. Like, they haven't killed off Chris or Leon, but no, they killed off Ethan. I'm going to be very quick about certain characters. Mia Winters, going to keep her into C tier. I find her mostly annoying, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of her. In both 7 and in Village, she's... Yeah. She lies to her husband in Resident Evil 7, and kind of Village as well. She's just not... She's not a nice person. I don't like Mia. she's just not nice. You know what? Actually, I might even put her into D tier. That's fine. I'll keep her to C tier. She's got a little bit of personality, but nothing major. Yeah, but she's just not a nice person. Jack Baker, I need to be quick because of time, but Jack Baker is brilliant. I'm actually debating putting him into A tier here, actually. Yeah, let's put him into A tier. Jack's a fantastic villain. When you talk about villains that actually have personality, Jack is up there. He's brilliant. He is scary. He's got some wicked, fucked up lines. He's great. He's honestly excellent. And then again, when you do see him in that one cutscene at the end of 7, when he is healed and the virus is out of his body, and you see him and he's so full of remorse and regret, and he's actually, again, very nice. Honestly, Jack is excellent. I wish there was a way to somehow bring him back into the games, but I don't think it would work. He's pretty much kind of similar to Salazar, kind of locked into that 7 storyline, really, that I don't think we can really expect to see Jack again. But yeah, excellent. Terrifying stalker enemy. Underratedly terrifying stalker enemy. Yeah, and then his boss fight, the chainsaw fight, one of my favorites. One of my favorite boss fights of all time is Ethan versus Jack in the chainsaw fight is excellent. Yeah, A tier. Strong character. Love Jack. Going to be quite quick about some of these again I've mentioned. I'm going to start putting these into B tier as well. Marguerite. Going to put her into B tier. Again, talking personality. She's got a lot of it. She's a wicked son of a gun. She again toys with Ethan like an insect would for breakfast type of thing. No, but intentional pun. And she's nasty. She's nasty pasty. I like Marguerite a lot. A lot of people like Marguerite. Some people like her more than Jack, but I'm not quite in that bracket. But she's great. Horrible piece of work. Some of the work that went into her personality, her wickedness, her design as a boss fight as well. Good boss fight. Personally prefer the Jack chainsaw fight, but there's a lot of people that feel like the best boss fight of Resident Evil 7 is Marguerite. And I'm like, that's fair. I don't agree, but I understand. Lucas, again, I feel like Lucas deserves to be in B tier here. The Baker family are great. They really, really are. There was so much love and attention and consideration to put into the personalities of all the Baker family. And Lucas, again, genuinely the one true villain of Resident 7, really. You could make a case in point to say that of all the characters, the only genuinely evil one was Lucas. He genuinely was a fucked up dude doing nasty things. He's responsible for a lot of the stuff that happens in 7 and did it basically human or monster. Yeah, horrible piece of work. Some of his trap work as well is great. Some of his dialogue of Ethan's good. Again, the way he, the whole, cop pig freezes scene he was responsible for. He wasn't, obviously you don't see him do it, but he did do it. Yeah, great character. Again, the Not a Heroes DLC with Chris mostly was meh, but Lucas was good. Some of the stuff he did in that was really good. Good character, really good. Lady Dimitrescu. again, I'm going to put into B tier. I'm wary at the time. I'm going to have to be quick. But a lot of people were hoping and praying that she was the main antagonist. I don't quite understand why people thought she was. Like, it seemed to me quite obvious that she was going to be at the beginning end of the game, based on the trailers and seeing Heisenberg and you know, some of the other characters, you know. But in the end, she was their marketing toy. And it worked to great effect. A lot of people loved Resident Evil Village and the anticipation for it because of the character design of Lady Dimitrescu being this incredibly tall, curvy, classy-looking lady. Yeah, she's got some great lines. Again, her boss fight is really good. I'm not quite as into it as a lot of other people are. A lot of people are like, "Oh my god, Lady D, Lady D," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay." I'm Team Ada, sorry. But yeah, really good personality. And again, some of her back and forth with Ethan in the castle is really good. Arguably the best back and forth of any of the characters in Resident Evil Village. So, oh, I've got Evelyn. I missed out Evelyn. I'm going to put Evelyn in the C tier. Oh, you can't see her. Oh, you can't. Oh, you can't. You can see it now. I'm going to put Evelyn into C tier here. I don't... Again, you know, the plot twist, obviously, some people saw it coming, some people didn't. Again, just the little girl character. She had some kind of like, hee hee hee, I'm an evil little girl type of lines. That felt quite cliche. You know, all she wanted was a family. You know, fine, you know. I didn't really care for her. Again, it sounds horrible, but I didn't really care for Evelyn. I didn't feel sorry for her. I like the plot twist that she's the grandmom of the Baker family the whole time. I didn't see that coming. I didn't necessarily see the full twist of Evelyn's character coming personally. And I thought that was like a oh moment, but I didn't think it was like a moment, you know. So lastly, and perhaps you know, perhaps least, Mother Miranda. Again, I'd never really I think I said this before, but most of the main antagonists of Resident Evil don't tend to have a lot of personality, and I don't tend to find them that entertaining. I find Mother Miranda almost in the same bracket as Lord Sadler. I'm going to put her into C tier. You know, again, it's no secret that the story and the format of Resident Evil Village follows the story and format of 4. In terms of you have these areas that you go to with these villains in each area. I just think, generally speaking, Villages is not as good as 4's. And the same climax with Sadler and Mother Miranda in their counterparts, I don't think are great. Sadler's was an amazing. Mother Miranda's was no better. If I had to choose between the two, I'd say Sadler's was better. I just didn't care. I mean, I know she didn't kill, but she finished off Ethan. You know, and then he finishes her off afterwards. That sounds a bit sexual. I'm not trying to make it, but yeah, just don't care. Just don't really care. I probably could put some of these into D tier. I might start doing that now quickly. I'm gonna put Helena into D tier. I'm gonna put Mia into D tier. I'm gonna put both Miranda into D tier. Yeah. I'm gonna Jake into D tier as well. Yeah, I think those probably can bump down. Yeah, there we go. That's pretty much it, guys. That's my Resident Evil character tier list. I could have done more. I know I could have done, but only had so much time, obviously. Try and keep this video as condensed as possible to hit the main hitters. If you guys wanted me to do a Resident Evil tier list, let me know. If you guys want to tell me and suggest to me what other tier lists you want to see, let me know. I'm always down to hear what you want. It doesn't have to be video games as well. One of the things I put into the poll was chocolate bars, UK chocolate bars. I might still do that. I'm debating maybe doing music as well. I don't know. It doesn't have to be video game related, although it makes sense to kind of keep it focused mostly on that. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, what did I get right? What did I get wrong? What my hot takes? What have I got here that you do not agree with? And what do you think? Let me know. I want to hear in the comments. But until next Thursday, much love. Take care. Bye bye.